Welcome to another episode of Gut, Sweat, and Shears, the podcast, where we have conversations that we highlight in the industry from behind the chair and beyond the chair. I am here with my co-host, Terrence Smalls. I am Ekina Smalls, and we are here as Master Stylist and Master Barber to give you guys a little bit of insight on how our minds work in the industry and just some different things that go on in our salon and barbershop that we wanted to bring to you guys to talk about.
Hello everyone, how you doing? I'm so excited about this podcast that we have together. I'm looking forward to sharing this space with my co-host, my wife, who finds it very funny right now, but I'm looking forward to it, and we have a lot of valuable information that we can let you know, like she said, behind the chair and beyond the chair, because there's a lot of things that go on in barbershop and beauty salons that a lot of people really don't pay attention to and they really don't know. So we're here to bring that to your attention and show you some insights.
Well, I'm curious to have this conversation. I'm not even curious, just kind of curious and excited to have this conversation. When we talked the other day, we spoke about, what were some good episodes, some good topics that we can discuss. And you brought up one that was very current, which was the pandemic.
Yes.
And how it's been affecting us in our industry and just in our community, in our neighborhoods, and just in our lives. And I feel like it's just been pretty shaky these days.
Yes, it has. I don't know what this version is, but it seems like this version of the COVID is spreading a lot faster. Like it's spreading. I've never heard this many people have it in this short period of time. And then people that we know in our circle, they're starting to, come up positive. And like you said, in our industry, that's really affecting our industry, because you said you've seen social media wise where there were quite a few people saying, hey, I'm shut down for this week. You're going to have to get on the schedule for next week. I'm positive. And of course, us being the professionals that we are, we don't want to put ourselves in a position to spread it to, no one else that, if we can help it.
Right.
So, like you said, this day and age, it's a lot of things that's happening, and it's happening very fast. Airlines shutting down, canceling thousands and thousands of flights during the day. A lot of the airline professionals, they don't want to go to work because now they're shortening the time span for quarantining.
Right.
It used to be 14, dropped to 10. Now it's 5.
It's crazy.
So, but I've seen firsthand, you can go from a positive to a negative in less than 7 days.
Right.
So
that sounds like some credit repair.
Yeah, it does.
You can go from a positive to a negative score in less than 7 days too.
Now, if I had that secret in 7 days, I'll be making a mint right now.
But I remember, like when the pandemic first started, first of all, I remember we had just gotten back from Italy.
Yes.
Went on a beautiful cruise. And what was that, like in November, I believe? Like October, November.
Yes, that was November. No. It was September.
September into October.
Yes.
Okay. Because it was Quad's birthday. That's why I remember October.
Quad being our daughter.
Right. And we had to come back and then just kind of get an idea of like what was starting to happen in the world. I was about to say in the country, but that was a totally different country than the US, of course. And I remember when it first shut down, for me, it was a little nerve-wracking because, I don't know if you remember this, but it was kind of like I had anxiety because I was so used to working every day, all day. And when they told us that we had to close because we were non-essential, right? We didn't matter. Our business didn't matter. And I remember we had to close down, and it was hard for me. But one thing that I do remember is that people are a little confused, like how all of a sudden is the salon's non-essential, but the beauty supply stores are still open.
Exactly.
Like what made them essential when that was the business that we needed to operate our business. And I just thought that we were just some, more so like a form of self-care. So I didn't really see why we were so non-essential, but it was just a hard time, I think, for me mentally, because I always said that I'm in the industry and I'm in a profession that nobody could tell me that I can't work. Like I
Exactly.
heard government shutdowns, people would be out of employment with that, teachers going on strike, nurses going like all types of stuff before the pandemic. And never did I imagine to be in a position where I would be told that I can't go to work and use my hands. So that was kind of scary for me. And for the first time, I realized like, like nobody is safe. No industry is safe. And like trying to have yourself together financially was like important because this pandemic is just, it's been pretty rough.
You got to remember, I felt the same way because being in the industry, cutting hair for as long as I have, I've never had to have someone say, "Oh, you can't cut hair,"
Right.
because easily I'll go home, cut hair, I'll find someone else to cut hair. But for them to say that you have to shut down, remember when we first heard that and we said, well, that's not going to affect us because we can go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the city came and told us to shut down the barbershop, me and the guys were looking at each other like, what? And to be very transparent, we actually kept the barbershop open. Now, this is an example of someone not being, we can't understand someone telling us to shut the business down. So we actually kept the barbershop open for maybe 2 to 3 days after they told us to shut down. But what we did was send a text message, have the clients text us, and we told them come through the back door.
Why don't I remember this? That was a deadly virus. Why were y'all doing that?
But
I mean, it is.
Yes, but that's when it first hit, and we really didn't. We didn't take it as serious as it. We felt. You're
right.
Mask.
Everybody was saying stuff like, "Oh, it's 5G, it's 4G, it's 5G."
Exactly.
Had us looking at every tower that we drove past, like that's COVID right
saying
there.
We're not going to get a 5G phone because 5G is spreading COVID.
5G is spreading COVID. It's just the concrete in the buildings. Like we were just.
And so being of course I'm the owner, so I had to start thinking. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to put my business in jeopardy. So when this is over with, the city be like, oh, we can't let you open up because, you went against what we asked you to do. So we end up having to shut it down. And like you said, that was definitely an experience. It was a nervous experience because both of us working for ourselves, and anything that we did, that's how we ate. We didn't get paid during the time that we were not working. And, we had to get creative, I especially give credit to you and Quadia, which is our daughter, who, y'all got very creative being at home. But, when you start sitting at home, that's when you start thinking of some things. What can I do? Mm-hmm. Or, what is this world going to be like? Will I ever be able to go back to the shop? And things like that ran across my mind, and got a little nervous. And I really didn't want to bring it up to you because you were in the same boat. So, if both of us are thinking the same way, what
like what good would that do?
Exactly.
In the household.
Now we're both looking at each other like, what are we going to do?
Right.
And that's an uneasy feeling being in the same household. So a lot of things I held in, and definitely was trying to figure out, what's the next step.
Yeah.
And then that puts a lot of things in perspective, mm-hmm. as far as your savings, as far as, how you're going to continue paying your bills. Because definitely they kind of gave us some help, saying that, certain things wouldn't be due when they were due, but
mm-hmm.
I don't
deferring.
feel easy.
I'm like, kind of give us some help. That PPP.
No, I'm not talking about the PPP, but I'm just talking about as far as the bills and things that need to be paid. Mm-hmm. And they gave us a little leniency, but of course, over time that's not going to last. So it puts things in perspective in households, and just think about, we're in the industry where we had to work for ourselves. A lot of people, they have jobs, and their jobs took care of a lot of things for them, but then there were some jobs that people are not going to be able to go back to to this day. So.
And then a lot of different ways that companies, businesses, even salons, like you said, there's a lot of different things that I started doing that helped supplement income. One of those being, of course, I started creating wigs, mm-hmm. For people from outside of the chair. At first, before that, I was just servicing my clients who were in the chair with that service. But then I had to step out, stop being so fearful of complaints and stuff like that, and just try to build a structured system around producing a product like that without the person being present. Mm-hmm. So it was a little shaky. It was a little nervous at the beginning. I don't know if you remember, I was doing like consultations, little trial and error. And it got better, of course, speeding it up to now. I've definitely gotten better. So when they say, just try something and keep going at it and keep going at it and like don't give up and all you can do is get better and better and better if you keep going at it. I am definitely living proof of that. So it did birth something new for me, and I was kind of glad to see that a lot of my peers, like a lot of my as I call them, like co-workers in the industry, they started doing a lot of the same stuff. I saw stylists starting to create like beauty boxes and shipping them out to clients because they had product-based businesses, and other people maybe doing Zoom calls and teaching clients how to service themselves at home and charging additional fee for that. So I think our industry really, because we have that entrepreneurial spirit and we just have that hustle mentality because we're so used to having to get clients, we just kind of shifted and decided to figure out a new way to supplement the income that we were lacking at the beginning. And then for me too, what I also realized now that my business is kind of butting heads. Like now I have a clientele who's ready to get back to what we were doing before the pandemic started. And now I also now have a new clientele of people who want to purchase units and wigs and that sort of thing. And now like there's my issue with like balance, just trying to run both of them at the same speed. And
almost like two businesses in one.
Right. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, before the pandemic, I feel like I had 3 jobs: clothing line for stylists, behind the chair, and education in person. During the pandemic, when the pandemic first started, I had neither of those 3, but I had wigs and online education. Now here we are at the beginning of 2022. I have wigs, online education, in-person education, behind the chair, and salon apparel. So like I went from having 3 jobs to no jobs to 2 jobs to 5 jobs. I'm like, whoa.
Exactly. And honestly, that's what the pandemic did. I would say it made our industry grow.
Yeah.
And kind of grow up quicker than what we would normally do because, of course, a pandemic. But, fortunately for me, it was cutting hair, but I didn't do anything inside of, our industry. But fortunate enough for me, I became a licensed realtor.
I was about to say, what are you talking about? You was
Yeah.
closed. You was the closer.
Yeah, licensed realtor. And honestly, those were the most closings I had.
Right.
During the pandemic, the first closing I had to do it virtually.
I know, I recorded you.
Yeah. And that was an amazing experience because, to do your first closing and then do it virtually. Of course, I wanted to be there because it's the big thing of being there and sitting at the closing table and things like that. But it's still, to this day, kind of I'm mind boggled because that's an essential job. And I see our industry as essential as being a realtor because people still have to go to work.
Right.
Now, you don't want to go to work looking like you just woke up or like, you don't have no kind of grooming. So I really think they need to reconsider our industry and just make sure that we have certain guidelines that we have to follow as far as with the mask, the sanitation, things that we already do.
Right.
But I really think our industry should be essential moving forward. If there's ever another shutdown, and it's kind of looking like that, but I don't think so. Fully not like it was before, because we know how to handle it. And plus, with them shorten the what is it called, the quarantine days.
Quarantine.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but I mean, like I said, it's going to educate us on how to deal with our clients and being in this industry and moving forward.
Do you feel like it affected your clientele at all? Like, do you feel like you had, once everything started, quote unquote, getting back the way it used to be, or, them allowing us to reopen our businesses under, of course, certain guidelines with proper sanitation and sterilization, the correct, not really the correct, but just a certain amount of people in there at one time. Do you feel, matter of fact, I remember at the barbershop that you guys like eliminated the waiting area.
Yes,
y'all took out the waiting chairs and that sort of thing, because just to show people, like, we care about your health and your concerns and don't want anybody to feel like you have somebody breathing around, breathing down your neck. So I do remember you made that adjustment. But do you feel like your barbers or anybody had any kind of clientele issues after the pandemic?
Me personally, I have. I actually still haven't seen quite a few clients that I used to see on a weekly basis. There, most of them are older, and they still don't want to take the chance of being around other people, even with a mask. So, I was affected, and our barbershop was kind of affected. But now, at this particular point, people are getting used to what's going on. So now they're coming and still taking, getting their personal grooming and, coming to the barbershop. So I see things going back up as far as the business. So, and a lot of the barbers, I mean, they love where they are right now. I mean, of course, with everything going on and prices of everything, shortages, we have to have our prices go up.
Right.
So,
and that's tricky. Like, I was so afraid. I remember when the pandemic first happened, like I was nervous to increase my prices. And the crazy thing is, I was already in the plans of doing that before the pandemic hit. I was already trying to shift and reshape and restructure a new business model. And when the pandemic hit, it was like, damn, like now, how do I introduce this when everybody pockets are hurting, you know?
Well,
Until I started seeing people in Tulum.
exactly.
I
A
said,
lot of
oh,
people pockets are hurting, but then a lot of people, this pandemic put a lot of money into a lot of people's hands that's never had that amount of money before.
right.
Because you notice a lot of things went up. Online shopping. You start seeing a lot more luxury cars. Not to say what people were doing with the money. A lot of them wasn't doing the right thing, but they made the economy go around.
Yeah.
So we had to go up on our prices because there's a shortage of certain things. There's shipping containers still stuck in the ocean right now, waiting to be, delivered and to have those goods delivered. So it puts a little bind on us as, industry professionals. But, I mean, someone has to, bite the end of the bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had to start having things on hand, like PPE. What is it? PPE? PPE? PPE?
PPP?
Not PPP, not the protection plan. The stuff, like the mask and
the mask and the hand sanitizers.
The hand sanitizer. Like, we had to start ordering all that stuff.
Yeah, and then you
I
like
had
the spray,
plastic.
just
The
sanitizer,
steamer for the chair. I purchased.
And then you changed every time your client got up. You changed a cape, a plastic cape.
I bought new plastic capes. I bought additional masks. I bought special sterilization products because I think everybody got different levels of concern with the pandemic. You had some who don't believe in it at all.
Yes.
Of course. Then you have some who are extremely anxious, got anxiety about it. And then you got people who straddle the fence who's just like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. They have faith that they won't be drastically affected by it. Unfortunately, I did have a client who had someone who passed away, a husband, and that made it real for me because I know them all very well. So I just wanted to make sure that I stayed on how to make sure everybody's concerns. Like, I did the same thing, kind of what you did. I moved the waiting chairs out of the room where I was and just kind of kept it on a client stylist as one person in. It would text people outside and say, now you can come in and that sort of thing. I did my best to try to keep that structured because I think people remember that. I think when the business gets back where you want it to be, people will always remember that. They'll appreciate you. And I've even had some clients during the pandemic when we were shut down as non-essential workers still pay for their appointments, still get their hair done, but still pay for their biweekly service because they understood that without them, the income wasn't there.
Exactly.
Did you experience some of that?
Yes, I did. And I really appreciated that. And that's why, it's a little difficult to say that I have to go up on my prices. But in order to stay in business and continue to pay bills and, work at a high level, I mean, we have to go up. But I definitely appreciated those clients who felt like, even though I'm not coming in, this is your only means of making your income. They of course they didn't concern themselves about what I did outside of the industry, but what they know. And they wanted me to be able to be in a position to come back when it's time to open things back up because there were a lot of businesses that shut down. In all industries, and we see that now, certain businesses have never reopened their doors. And, that has affected a lot of people's lives. And then, of course, unemployment has gone up because a lot of people during this pandemic decided that they want to possibly not go back to work, do something for themselves. I think during this pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, it's not factual, but just in my opinion, I think there's been the most entrepreneurs created during this pandemic than has been ever. Because I hear everyone, I mean, corporate workers, now they're talking about they're starting this business, that business, they're buying into this, things of that nature. So, there's good and bad that came out of the pandemic, but, in my opinion, there's a lot more good than bad. Even though there's a lot of people that lost their lives.
For business, I can see how you say that. For birthing new entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And also just helping you restructure your business. Like, I feel like it definitely showed me where a lot of the loopholes were in my business. That my business, I had no other way of maintaining without being behind a chair. And it's like, man, that means I was slacking on retail.
Yeah.
I was slacking on creating an online educational platform. I was slacking on a lot of things that as soon as the pandemic hit, it was like right in your face. Like, okay.
It brings a lot of things to your attention.
A lot of things into perspective. And so if we can speed up to today, like, where do you see our industry going today, moving forward?
I see our industry growing, but I see quite a few people not coming back. As far as industry professionals, maybe those individuals who hadn't been in it in a long time, or those individuals that really didn't have that desire within their heart to be that industry professional. I have a lot of passion for cutting hair. I guess that's why I've been in it so long. And, I've had opportunities to stop cutting hair, but I think that's something that I always want to do because of what it brings, what it entails. It entails meeting people on different walks of life, watching not just your clients, but like I said before in another episode, these clients start to seem like they become family.
Yeah.
Because I've watched them grow, kids, different generations. So I see the industry, like I said before, growing up. We're getting a lot more educated, being able to put ourselves in a position to provide a lot more for our clients, educate them. Things like what we're doing now with the podcast, educating our clients, not only our clients, but our peers, and sharing some of the information, that we have, bringing that to the forefront. So I see the industry growing, but I really see it leveling up, basically.
Yeah.
I really see it leveling up.
Yeah. We're at a point where it's kind of like now or never, things they've changed so much. It's just like everything is so automated and computers, this and, now everything feels so microwave.
Yes.
Yes. Literally because the pandemic really pushed us into mastering technology more and scheduling online and doing this online, and it's just everything feels so much more fast paced. So yeah, I can agree that it's growing the business, so growing the industry up really, really, really quick. I'm excited to see the students who are coming out of school, like how they're going to operate in this new space, and if they're gonna take it and treat it like us traditional, stylists and barbers have been. If they're gonna actually respect the privilege to be able, because one thing I know about the youth is they're so talented. Like the work that I see on social media, some of that stuff I can't even do.
Yeah.
Like some of it I can't do. They so good at it. And it's like if they would just shape and mold that business structure part, I think they'd be good. So I think moving forward in 2022, I think it's the industry has a lot to look forward to, just with innovation and like what that looks like. And as we're kind of like in it, but still kind of exiting because age is gonna make us start.
Exactly.
Like,
I think they have the skill set,
right?
And of the uniqueness of things that they're doing, but I think they have to have the dedication.
Yeah.
A lot of the younger people coming up, I think they lack the dedication to understand what it takes to get themselves in a position to 15, 20 years down the line, they're still, dominating what they're doing, and then they're growing their business and possibly, having a franchise or something like that. But I think that's the only thing they have to connect.
Yeah.
Their skill set along with the dedication and finding their purpose. and being in this industry. So, once they do that, because that's just like us, we have to increase our skill set to match theirs, but then they have to increase their dedication and their purpose towards the business, and not just because I feel what we do is not just a business.
Yeah.
To me, it's like I said, it's the passion that I have for it. Because what do they say? They say that you find your passion if you'll be willing to do it for free, and that's the way I feel about this business. So
yeah. And on that note, we're gonna end this episode, but I do want to say something to the doing something for free. One, we definitely want to get paid for our skill, right? We want to be valued the way that we know we're valued. We put in a lot of work and a lot of hours. We miss out on a lot of family time. We put a lot of just dedication, like you said, into learning your craft, perfecting your craft and everything. So on one side, you definitely want to make sure that people understand that you're most of the time irreplaceable if you're practicing the correct customer service and skill set and combining both of those for like a great experience for your client. But at the same time, I want to challenge us to not only worry just about the money, because the money will come to you if you focus on the people in a way where, of course, you're taking care of your business, but just focus on providing an excellent customer experience, and then the money will come to you.